Hello, everyone. So good to be able to chat with you tonight. Sorry, it's kind of late. Usually I don't get on here this late, but um, I wanted to share with you a few things. Those of you all that saw my video this morning, thank you so much for responding to my request to like my new page. I wanted to create a page where I could make my videos public so it would have the opportunity to reach more people, to be able to fulfill what I feel like my calling is to help people have hope during their grief. I want to start off with a story tonight. Many of you know that I'm a nurse. I was at Jewish for 27 years, and then I went to the VA for 3 years. And I kind of want to tell you a little bit about that experience there. It was a very difficult decision to make for me to leave my job at Jewish. I've been there for so long, private hospital, going to a federally ran institution. To say that it was a challenge is probably not a good description. It stretched me very, very thin. It was a different type of work environment. I love the work. I love the patients. The veterans were the best part of the job. The work environment, however, was quite toxic. And I found myself in a situation to where I didn't know quite what I was going to do about that situation. Tony and I had prayed about it for um, several months and felt the leading of the Holy Spirit that these doors were open, and we decided to walk through it. So after I'd been there for about a year and a half, I figured that I'd really made a bad mistake. But some of you may be able to relate to the old saying that says, well, you made your bed, now you get to lay in it. So I kind of felt that way. I felt like had left a good job, and I was making really good money, more money than I'd ever made, with really good benefits. It was insane for me even to consider the fact that I would leave. But after an additional year and a half, I was in a very bad place. I was very depressed. I did not like my job. It was to the point to where I would physically get ill on Sunday nights when I knew I had to go to work on Monday morning. It was affecting me. It was affecting Tony. It was affecting our marriage. It was just not a good place to be. So Tony and I prayed about it, and we decided, we have a business, and we decided that I would resign and just start working full time in our business. But here's the thing, guys. We had two incomes our whole life. We've always had two incomes. And at this point in our lives, my income was the largest income. So who does that, right? Who quits their job like that? Some crazy person? It was kind of crazy because, we could have looked at this situation. We could have said, wow, we really screwed this up. God clearly didn't tell us to go down this road. However, that's not what happened. We did feel the leading of the Holy Spirit. You ever feel like that sometimes you make a decision and things happen and you just wonder why? It may look like it was a mistake at a certain time. You may feel like, wow, I really made a wrong decision. I didn't really feel that way. I felt like that my time, I don't regret going there. I feel like my time there taught me a lot about myself. It stretched me very, very thin. But I learned a lot about me. I learned what my strengths were. I learned some about what my weaknesses were. And this is what I know, guys. God doesn't waste anything. God does not allow anything that we go through to be wasted. So my spiritual muscles during that time got kind of stretched a little bit. Um, then after I resigned, um, wow. I mean, I remember after turning in my resignation, I felt like a load had been lifted. I was so happy. I was so excited. Till after about the first 2 weeks, uh, no paycheck. Right? I was off for 2 weeks. I normally got paid every 2 weeks. No paycheck. So reality really set in at that point. Even though Tony and I had prepared, we thought about it, we prayed a lot about it, we got our financial situation in order. But 4 weeks, or excuse me, 2 weeks, no paycheck. Um, So we learned how to live on one income. And it took about 3 months for Tony to train me. I mean, I've always worked in our business, but as far as like the nitty gritty of the business, it took 3 months for Tony to really train me and all of that. So I share that experience with you guys because I was reminded. I was on a walk a few nights ago and I was coming down a hill. I'd pushed it really hard. I'd probably been already walking over an hour. My muscles were tired. My legs were burning. And it reminded me of that time when I was at the VA and the time that when we left and how spiritually, my spiritual muscles were really, really stretched. And you know what happens when you start a new workout routine, your muscles get sore because they get these little micro tears in them, and your body sends all the things to repair those little tears and really bulk up those muscles. Um, and as I was coming down that hill, I started thinking about my spiritual muscles. I started thinking about that time at the VA and the time afterwards where we had to learn to live on one income, and how it was a scary time because we didn't know the future, right? So we had to really trust God that He led us to this path and that He was going to take care of us. And I'm not going to lie, there was self-doubt. I mean, I thank God that He um, gave me somebody like Tony to partner with in life, because he's about as solid as a rock as you're going to find. And he was so solid through that time. He said, Teresa, we prayed about this. God is in this. We just need to hold fast. It's all going to be okay. And what we found is that God began to grow our business. And a door would open, and then another, and then another, and then another. And He grew our business. And so God proved Himself faithful to us. And He taught me that I could learn to live without a second income. And now, guys, in this new season of my life, He's teaching me to live without my son. And you might say, well, I don't want to learn that kind of lesson. I don't want God to teach me to live without somebody that I love. Well, I didn't either. But God is teaching me that I can live without things and people that I thought that I could not live without. When Andrew died, my world stopped. It didn't just slow down, it stopped. And those months of survival in the midst of that kind of pain, I didn't know that God was teaching me something. This is what I know, guys. God doesn't waste anything. Pay attention. When He is stretching us and He's causing our spiritual and our faithful muscles to grow, pay attention. You're going to need it. You're going to need it in your journey. During that time of grief, I didn't realize that I was learning and that God was teaching me things, because I could barely function, much less think about things that God was teaching me. But I want to read you something that a Bible teacher named Lisa TerKeurst wrote. This is a quote from her. She said, Jesus doesn't participate in the rat race. He's into the slower rhythms of life, like abiding, delighting, all words that require us to trust Him with our pace and our place. Such powerful words, guys, because God taught me the slower rhythm of life is where you learn the most. I've learned to trust Him with my future, even when I feel like I'm not going to make it. I want to talk to you a little bit tonight about God's hope. God's hope is the kind of hope that's there when everything else goes missing. During the first few months of quarantine, we all went through really times of isolation, and maybe you're still in isolation, I don't know. But those slower rhythms of life sometimes open us up to be more aware of our surroundings and things that's happening around us. God tends to speak more to me whenever I'm quieter and I'm still. God's hope is what has been my anchor, guys. I could not have made it through this without Him. I don't know what God is teaching you to live without. I don't know what your journey is or what you're grieving, but I do want to give you hope tonight. I want to let you know that God's hope is always there. There's a verse I want to share with you. It's in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 19. This hope is a strong and trustworthy anchor for our souls. It leads us through the curtain into God's inner sanctuary. And guys, that's where I've been the last 21 months. I've been inside God's inner sanctuary, because without His hope, I wouldn't be able to survive. I'm learning to trust Him for my future, even when I don't understand it. You see, when we quit that job at the VA, I've never quit a job in my entire life. Some people might look at that as a failure. But this is what I know. God doesn't let anything go to waste. That was not a failure. It opened up the door for us to take a step of faith and be in a situation where He grew our business way more than we could ever imagine. So I don't think that's failure, guys. I don't think that we misread God's leadership that said, go to the VA. I do think that all of that was in His plan. He was preparing and He was teaching. And I hope tonight that you can slow down in your rhythm of life and hear what He's saying to you. Pay attention. One thing that I've learned is that so much of my life I've lived with my head down, working hard, doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not paying enough attention to what's going on around me. Boy, have I changed. When you're forced to slow down, you learn a lot about yourself. So make a choice. Make a choice to slow down, guys. Make a choice to slow down and to listen to what the Lord's trying to teach you. I hope you guys enjoyed our chat tonight. I look forward to spending more time with you. Um, I will post this on my Facebook, my new Facebook page, and hopefully you guys will be able to find me there. It's just Teresa Davis, or it's at Teresa Brown Davis 83. So you guys have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you next time.